Hi all, in this video we'll see the various kind of operations we can perform on the data source. So basically once we have imported the data source in our Tableau worksheet, now if we want to add another data source, or if we wish to modify an existing data source, or if we are planning to replace the already imported data source with some other data source, we can do all of these operations in our Tableau worksheet. One thing to notice over here is even if we replace the data source with another data source, the visualizations will not go off. Okay, the visualizations will not be removed if the data source which you have imported has got the same fields as the previous one. So we'll see one by one what all operations we can perform on the data source. So to perform any data source operation, the basic thing is, first in the worksheet we'll be going within the worksheet we'll be going to this data menu over here, and from here we have to go to the various operations. If we want to add a new data source, we can do that. If we wish to replace or extract, then we can simply select this one, edit the data source if we want. If we wish to refresh it, means if there have been some changes in the source data source, maybe some new data has been added, or maybe some existing rows have been deleted, and they has not or that by default the data will be automatically refreshed. But in case it doesn't get refreshed, you can come over here and refresh it manually. Okay, and then you can edit the data source filters if you want. Okay, all these operations you can perform on the Tableau data source. So let's go to the Tableau worksheet and check each of these in detail. So here comes my Tableau worksheet, where I have this sample data superstore, and from this data source I have imported two worksheets, orders and people. Now what I'm trying to do is I would like to add another data source over here. So I can do that. I'll press add, and I can select what is the data source I would like to add. Okay, that's as simple. Once you select this, you will be prompted the option to select the data source you want. Okay, another way is over here, if you would like to rename the field. Okay, this was the sample superstore. If I would like to rename it, I can simply click over here and give it the name I want. So supposedly instead of sample store, I would like to do it as Henry Harvin. I can do that. Okay, Henry Harvin superstore. So I can do that as well. So this is as simple. So the original data source name remains the same, but within your worksheet, the name will be like this. So when you will be going to such kind of sheets over here, you will see the name of the data source for you is Henry Harvin Superstore. So we saw how to add a new data source. We saw how to rename them. Apart from this, if there has been some change within the original data source and you would like to have that change in your data over here, so by default it automatically gets refreshed. But if it doesn't, then you have to do manually from here. So I'll give you an example. Let's go to the original dataset we had. Okay, this is the dataset I have, and if I would like to remove the order ID in case, okay, I am doing a delete over here. Okay, and I have saved it. So now let's see whether it's reflected there or not. So as of now, just a second, when I do it again, now you'll see that order ID, I still have an order ID. Okay, so if I would refresh it from here, then the order ID would go off. Okay, first of all, I would like to have only one. So I have removed one. So I have now only orders sheet. Okay, now over here, let's do. So right now you can see that I have got all the rows and I still have order ID. Okay, but since I had deleted the order ID from the orders sheet with on in my data source, now I would like to have that change over here. So I'll go over here, refresh the data source. Okay, and it would take some time and it would automatically remove. So you can see that my order ID has been removed now. Okay, so in this way you can use this database refresh to manually refresh your data which has been imported in your Tableau worksheet. Okay, apart from this, if you wish to duplicate the data source, you can do that from here. And if you wish to edit the data source, so you can do that. And if you wish to replace the data source, you can do that as well. So over here, if I wish to replace the data source, I can do that as well. So I'll go to the data, I'll go to edit data source. Okay, or edit data source filters. I can use these options and I can replace my data source as well. So for Replacing the data source, over here in the sample superstore, there's an option. I can either rename it, the rename we saw. I can edit the connection, so I can use the new data source which I would like to select. Can select that and press open, so that data source will be available. So I think various kinds of operations which we can perform on data source are clear to you guys. First of all, we can add a new data source if we want. We can rename the data sources. You can refresh the data source manually to reflect the actual changes which have been done in your original data source. And if you want to edit the data source, you can do that. You can replace the data source. On replacing as well, if your data source has got the same columns as we have in the original one, then your visualization will not go up. The visualization will remain as is. That was all about the various kind of operations we can perform on the data source. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.